I am what I call a soft theist. I believe in the probability of a general God. I do not believe in the Christian God, and one of the major reasons is I think the Bible is full of contradictions. Back in the mid-90s, I met with a conservative Christian for several meetings over a 2-year period to discuss the contradictions in the Bible. Matt is very biblically knowledgeable, he's clever, and he's very assertive. Decide for yourself who makes the better arguments. How to arrive at truth?
Let me ask you a question. I mean, do you know who your mother is?
Do I know who she is?
Yeah.
Pretty good idea.
Are you certain who your mother is?
Biologically, yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
See, truth, the kind of truth you're looking for, are you looking for absolute certainty?
No, you can't get that.
You can't get
It's
that.
part of the human condition. You can't.
You can't get that. So you don't even know that your mother is your mother with absolute certainty.
Right.
To arrive at truth, we're looking at truth really in the realm of probabilities.
Yeah.
Not in the realm of certainties.
Right.
Logic doesn't tell you what is real and what isn't.
It helps.
Only in this sense. Logic is a negative test for truth. It's not a positive test for truth.
All right.
And this is what I mean.
Okay.
The concept of a unicorn is logical.
Okay.
There's nothing illogical about the concept of a unicorn. But the question is, does a unicorn live in reality?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's logical, but not necessarily true.
Okay. Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Logic is only a negative test for truth. If something is illogical, it can't be true.
We agreed that a belief system can't be true if it's illogical, or if it contradicts itself. Matt, as an evangelical Christian, claims that there are no real contradictions in the Bible. I claim there are many contradictions. Abraham's only son. We discussed Hebrews 11:17, where Isaac is referred to as Abraham's only begotten son. I claim that that was a contradiction because Galatians 4:22 indicates that Abraham had another son. Matt argued that only begotten in the original Greek does not mean only begotten in the literal sense, but rather means or connotes in this passage one that is beloved.
Then why didn't the translators translate it that way?
Because it's got nothing to do with translation.
It has everything to do with it.
No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with translation.
It has everything to do with translation.
No, because
you're assuming these translators are dumb, but they're not. They're translating the word of
Wait a
God.
minute. That's why I studied the original languages for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you can't go on with... See, you're trying to disprove the Bible by translators. If you want to do that, you have to do it through the original language.
So anytime I find a contradiction, the original word meant something different than what the English...
Well, what you got to do is you got to go to Liddell and Scott, you've got to go to Art and Gingrich, you've got to go to Kittle's Theological Dictionary of the New Testament, and you've got to find out what the nuances of the word are.
The Cud-Chewing Rabbit, Part A.
Just like the rabbit chewing the cud.
What is the answer to that? I mean, rabbits don't chew the cud.
Well, the Hebrew word is not the cud.
But it does mean bringing up from the stomach.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No, it doesn't.
So what I read was wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Hebrew word means what?
There is no Hebrew word for cud. What's it mean when an animal chews its cud? What are they saying?
They're re-chewing their food.
It means they're chewing their food very good.
Yeah.
That's the word. There is no Hebrew word for cud. That's what the English translators put on it. But you can look up all the Hebrew words, and there is no Hebrew word for cud.
So well, they had plenty of grazing animals, so they must have had some word for chewing the cud.
Right. That's why when they talk about the rabbit chewing the cud and a cow chewing its cud, they would use the same word. But there is no word for cud like the English word.
Do ostriches disprove the Bible?
For she leaves her eggs on the ground and warms them in the dust. She forgets that a foot may crush them, or that a wild beast may break them. She treats her young harshly as though they were not hers. But that's not true. They fight off wild animals to protect their young. They take turns sitting on the eggs.
Are we sure it's referring to an ostrich?
Yeah, it says ostrich. See, that's the thing. When it says ostrich, I figure it means ostrich.
So you're saying you read up on ostriches and you think they're very good parents.
Right. Right.
I'm just wondering, how many scientists did you study?
3 books, 1 video, and 1 article.
And they all agreed that, they all said that ostriches are excellent parents.
Yeah, there's one quote, the father is a genuine father. I got the video right here. It shows ostriches protecting the young from the rain. You know, if they don't care about their young, why are they doing that?
Job might have been looking at an angle that you're not looking at.
Yeah, but God can't say this.
What do you
Because
mean?
God knows what ostriches are like. Humans back then may not have. So if a mistake was made, it couldn't be God writing it.
All I'm saying is that the passage can be true from one particular angle. You can say, yeah, okay, that the ostriches protect their children from the rain.
As a general rule. I mean,
Okay, that's-
good parents, yeah.
But are there instances of cruelty?
That wouldn't help though, because that's just that would be an instance.
Well, you're using the instance of the protection from the rain to indicate that they are good parents.
But that's not an instance, that's a general pattern.
Well, I could say, well, what if this parent always protects their child from the rain, but they get a beating every day from their parents for no good reason? Would you say that that's a good parent because the child is protected from the rain? The moderator of that particular video might be looking at an angle of ostriches that isn't the same as this one. So it'd be interesting to write to them and say, do you think ostriches show cruelty to their young?
If they did, they would have put it on there, because it would have been interesting. That would have come out, and it didn't come out.
You're assuming that it would come out.
Yeah, it'd make a good film. There's motivation for it to come out. The documentaries, the people making these documentaries on nature, they would look for that type of thing, any information. I mean, that's what they do for a living. They're fascinated with the habits of this creature. And then when they make a documentary after spending a year or 2 years hiding in a termite mound, and if there was anything like that, they would have said it.
Did you, just for the sake of argument here, are we sure we're talking about an ostrich in the passage?
Yeah, it says ostrich. Why?
Okay.
Couldn't be a chicken.
What is the Hebrew word that is used there?
I don't know.
Okay. So it might not be an ostrich.
Well, it has to be. Otherwise, you've got hundreds of experts wrong on the language.
No, I'm just saying that maybe the word itself that is translated ostrich is not the word for ostrich, or it could be something else.
Well, how could it be? Then they would have changed it.
Well, it could have been a big bird that lays eggs, something to that effect. And the translators translated it ostrich. And it might not be an ostrich.
It didn't even occur to me that it's a questionable word. It's like if the Bible says horse, then a horse is a horse. Horse is not a horse.
No.
I mean, I can see some words, but a straightforward, simple animal like that. So you're suggesting that it might not be an ostrich.
Absolutely. If all I'm saying is this, I mean, just knowing who you are and what kind of research you do, you seem to be very thorough to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So my conclusion would be is if what you're saying is true,
Yeah.
then
And
maybe
it is, by the way.
okay,
Yeah.
then maybe
Right.
Job is conveying a totally different concept.
Okay, now how would you determine that? How could you tell whether Job really meant
Well,
an
because
ostrich?
obviously Job didn't have a word for ostrich. He had a different word than what we're using. That we're translating this word. So what we got to do is we got to go back and research and find in the historical context what the word means.
But isn't that the job of all the translators? Haven't they done that? That's what all the translators, all these groups of experts, that's what they've done, and they put ostrich down there. I mean, it's sort of like, why should I do that research when people 100 times more qualified than I have already done this,
Okay.
in groups of people?
Okay, but all I'm saying is, could it be possible that Job was conveying
A different animal.
a different animal?
I would say no. What if the only thing they say is it means ostrich? Then what? Then that would disprove your entire religion.
If
So therefore, you should really get on this.
So if God is talking,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with your argument. God is talking,
Yeah.
and He says that the ostrich doesn't take care of its young,
Mhm.
and that it's a mean, cruel parent.
Mhm.
And the scientific literature shows otherwise.
Right.
And the science is right, and God is wrong.
Right.
Then we must throw that book right away.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's my conclusion. that's the right.
But wait.
So
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We haven't even come close to that conclusion yet.
well, we're very close to it.
Oh, absolutely.
All you have to do. See, this an entire question of the validity of Christianity can be decided right here on the ostrich.
At this point. I'm just saying, theoretically, if God said that the ostrich was a cruel, mean parent,
Right.
and I'm saying that in reality, that is not a true statement, then throw the book away.
Yeah, that's the perfect logic,
Okay.
right?
There's a long road to get to that point.
No, it's a very short road. All we got to do is look up the word ostrich and see if it
We
means.
could be so close,
Yeah.
but so far away.
Are you saying that we're not going to be able to determine whether you really meant ostrich?
Oh no, not at all. I'm saying, see, right now you think you're knocking at the door
Yeah.
to throw in Christianity, but you
Exactly.
might open that door and say, "Oh, sorry, it's not the word for ostrich."
All right, that's a possibility.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. So
Ah.
you come to me with, "I've got the key to disprove Christianity."
Telling me
You've
more.
got the key now. Now we've got to open the door.
Right. Right.
See
Yeah.
if
And I know what's going to happen. You're not going to open it.
oh, I'm telling you the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go home,
Yeah.
look up in BDB,
Yeah.
and see what the range of meaning is. I'm going to get on the internet. I'm going to get at Grace Theological Seminary, get on Graham Court, and look up. There's 16 billion Hebrew words on that thing.
Yeah. To find out.
I'm going to find
the
out the
range of
range of
meaning of
meaning.
that word used there.
Exactly.
To see if it could mean anything else.
Right.
Okay. Good. Excellent.
All right.
I have my doubts that you'll do that.
Oh, believe me.
All right. Okay.
Going home ready to
All
go.
right. So, you agree with me. The logic is perfect. If,
Oh,
if God is wrong, then this book is wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no question. If
So-
God is wrong, let's throw the book out
So you.
and let's eat, drink, and be merry. Why don't we-
So you have to be pretty confident that you're going to find a different meaning for the word ostrich than my assumption that ostrich means ostrich, and that's it.
I am
You're confident it means something else.
very confident, and as a matter of fact, I can't wait to go home and do
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that'll be very interesting. You've admitted you have to give up your religion if it doesn't mean anything else.
At the end of this meeting, my guess was that Matt would be unable to find that the range of meanings for the Hebrew word used would include some other bird, and that at our next meeting he would quickly focus on some other argument and soft pedal what he just said, almost as though he never said it.
But it is an ostrich, though.
Yes, if you look up the Hebrew word, it is an ostrich.
We went on at length about the ostrich. I cited how ostrich parents cooperate incubating the eggs and raising the chicks, how they cross the savannah moving at the speed of the slowest chick, how they perform distraction displays to protect their chicks, how they will fight fiercely to protect them, etc. Matt's argument became that if a parent is good to most of her offspring, but cruel to only one, then that is not a good parent. If there is some aspect of cruelty in the rearing of ostrich chicks, including the care of their eggs, then it is accurate to say they are bad parents. He cited the Encyclopedia Britannica's description of ostriches kicking out a few of their eggs from the nest if the bird's body can't cover them. I responded that his information was not up to date. The major hen does not kick out her own eggs, but only those of the minor hens. So that even if we accept Matt's contention that the cruel aspect of ostrich parenting has to do with those extra eggs pushed to the edge, the passage still stands as a contradiction of fact, because she does not treat her eggs harshly, she treats other hens' eggs harshly. David's only sin. I argue that 2 Samuel 24:10, where David laments that he has sinned greatly in taking a census against God's command, absolutely contradicts 1 Kings 15:5, where it says the only thing David ever did against God was the Bathsheba episode. Matt argued that if one breaks God's command, God prescribes certain offerings to atone for that sin. So if you repent and make those offerings, then you have followed God's commandments.
To you, a person who sins badly and often but repents is righteous in God's eyes. But to me, that's a hypocrite. A righteous man does not sin badly in the first place. I mean, would you ever kill somebody because you wanted his wife? I would never do such a thing. David did. I think that's despicable. And you consider him a righteous person. And the Bible considers him a righteous person.
Yeah, that's right.
That's your morality. As long as you believe in God and bow down to God and make a big deal out of being sorry after you commit your crime, then you're okay.
Jesus equated hate with murder.
Yeah.
He equated lust with adultery.
Right.
Okay. Neither one of us has done either one of those things.
No, I think Jesus was wrong to equate the two. But a huge difference between lust and adultery and hating somebody and murdering somebody. It's a huge difference. I think that's a major problem with Jesus' way of speaking and thinking, is that he overstated everything. That's not true. That's simply not true. There's a big difference between an intention and actually doing the deed.
I don't think so.
Oh, really? Have you ever felt like hitting somebody?
Yes.
But didn't? Yeah. And you think there's no difference between actually going? I think that's what separates a morality from immorality, is the people that use their willpower not to do the evil deed. It doesn't compute at all to me that you would consider him a righteous person, and yet you consider him a righteous person.
Yes, I do.
He had many concubines,
Mm-hmm.
and yet he was a righteous person.
Yes, he was.
Am I the only person who thinks David's use of a long-range weapon against Goliath in a hand-to-hand combat challenge is cheating? Am I mistaken to think taking concubines is immoral? Am I mistaken to think that mutilating corpses is immoral? Am I mistaken to think that murdering someone to get his wife is not the behavior of a hero? It never ceases to appall me how brainwashed and biased religious people are. The lion not turning from any beast.
The lion does not turn from any beast.
They don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They turn from rhinos.
Wait.
I got it on video. They turn from men. I got it on video. They turn from elephants.
Yeah, but
Sometimes buffaloes too.
But you've got to look at the language that the Bible is using. It does not take in every exception that comes along. As a whole, the lion is the king of the beasts. It is recognized even in the scientific community today.
That's not a scientific term at all, king of the beasts.
Here's the problem that we have. You're going to quote from the same program that I'm going to quote from, right? You're going to show me something.
Yeah.
On one night they have a thing on the ostriches, right? And now you're going to show me why the ostriches are not good parents, right?
Why they're good parents.
I mean, why they're good parents, right?
Right.
But the very next night,
Yeah.
all right, they'll have a show on lions, and you don't accept the idea that they're the king of the beast, even though the show seeks to prove that fact.
The term king of the beasts is not the issue. The issue is the specific thing that the Bible says, that he will not turn from any beast.
Right.
And that's false.
Why is that false?
Because they will turn from rhinoceroses, men, buffalo, elephants.
Do you honestly think that the Bible is presenting the idea that one elephant is not stronger than a lion?
Yeah, it's saying the lion is the master of the place, and he's not.
Let me ask.
But again, you keep going back to the king of the beast. I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the specific thing the Bible says,
Yeah.
which is that he doesn't turn from any beast.
Right. I saw a show where they did kill an elephant.
Okay.
They didn't
But that
show
was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
One example of lions not turning from an elephant does not dispute what I'm saying, which is, as a normal course of events,
Yeah.
the lion will turn away from the elephant. If the elephant's on a path and the lion's on the path, the lion's going to make way.
I have a video where lions and elephants are at a watering hole, and the narrator specifically says with a mocking tone, "The king of beasts makes way for the elephant."
It's a proverb.
Yeah, Proverbs are supposed to be true, not false.
No, they're not.
That's general truth. It's supposed to be a general truth.
But it's not true 100% of the time.
Right, but this is
wait a
it's a
minute.
general falsehood.
No, it's not. Generally speaking, lions do not turn away from anybody.
That's false. Generally speaking, they do.
No, wait a minute.
They turn from
Wait a
elephants.
minute. Wait. There wouldn't be one person that studied lions that would not make the statement, generally speaking, lions don't turn away from anybody.
I think you're absolutely wrong about that.
Why?
Because they obviously turn away from elephants. Lions will turn away from certain animals that are bigger.
You named two to me, but you've named two animals
Right.
out of all the beasts that are out there. Generally speaking, lions don't turn away from anybody.
Any is it's a categorical word, any.
Yeah.
So that means all animals. It doesn't mean any except 2 or 3 species.
Generally, it is true, with a few exceptions here and there.
Well, I think people who live in Africa will immediately say, what about elephants? They'll say that right away.
No, that's...
And the word any takes away the possibility of considering this a general statement. It
No.
says any. That's an absolutist type word.
No, I don't think so.
When I just thought of another argument here. If dinosaurs and humans lived at the same time as Matt believes, then you would have T-Rexes normally running away from lions. I don't think so. The fire-breathing sea monster. I brought up the Leviathan, the fire-breathing sea monster, and the fact that animals do not breathe fire. Matt said the animal, some sort of dinosaur creature, did exist, but the fire-breathing part of its description is just figurative language. I doubted that because the context is God giving a literal description of this animal. But then, in between our meetings, on my own, I came upon virtually the same expression of breathing fire referring to God's anger in Psalms 18:8. God obviously does not breathe fire literally, so that expression may well have been common figurative language at the time for great anger. I conceded the point to Matt. But then I presented another contradiction about the Leviathan. Genesis 9:2 says, "The fear of man shall be on every beast of the earth." Yet Job 41:33 says that the Leviathan is made without fear. Matt pointed out the words shall be, which means the statement refers to the future, in that man will eventually have dominion over all beasts once he has developed the technology. But I pointed out that the Leviathan became extinct before man developed the technology to kill him, so the contradiction still holds. One passage says the fear of man shall be on every beast, and the other says the Leviathan is made without fear.
We need to understand it's meant as a general rule or general principle, and that it'll take some time before it actually happens. I'm saying it never happened with Leviathan because mankind's technology never got that far before they died out.
The earth lasting forever.
Personally, I do think the earth is forever.
Well, you disagree with Peter, who says it'll be burned up. 2 Peter 3:10, both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. Yeah. Matthew 24:35, heaven and earth will pass away.
Yeah. Before what?
But my words will by no means pass away.
Yeah, but the point he's trying to say is, he's not saying that heaven and earth is going to pass away.
Yes, he is.
No.
He says heaven and earth will pass away.
No, he says heaven and earth will pass away before.
No, it doesn't say before. See, I went through this argument with Job. It doesn't say before. It says but.
Wait.
You can't just change a word in there. It's the same argument I went with the Jehovah's Witnesses. They were saying it means heaven and earth will pass away sooner pass away than my words will pass away. But it doesn't say sooner. They just stuck that in there.
Right, heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the point.
Yeah.
Because now you got to go to Revelation to understand what he means by verse 35.
Boy, what a complicated book. Why can't God be more
not.
simple? Go ahead.
No. He's saying heaven and earth will pass away. That is a true statement.
All right.
Okay? But my words will by no means pass away.
Yeah.
Here's the point.
Yeah.
The Word of God never changes.
Okay.
The earth and the heavens will. Because he says in the book of Revelation that the earth will become new. The earth as we know it today is going to pass away, because he goes on to explain what he means by it. There'll be no more sea, no more sun, things like that.
All right, so this is not the earth that was established forever?
The earth has been established forever, yes.
That it's going to be destroyed and then a new one. It's going to be transformed.
Exactly.
I have to think about that. I don't think it works, but
I think it works perfectly.
If he says clearly heaven and earth will pass away,
Yeah.
then how can you say it won't pass away? I mean, even if it's replaced, if the old earth is replaced several times, he's still saying it'll pass away.
If the Bible said this earth will pass away, maybe Matt would have a point, but it doesn't. It says simply the earth will pass away. The Bible's flat earth.
If there's scientific foreknowledge, the Bible has stuff in there that man didn't know about, and then later on today we find out it's actually true. That would be impressive. But instead you get the exact opposite. You get mistakes and misunderstandings that men had back then.
Like what?
Like stars being tiny, like the earth being flat.
Where does the Bible say that the earth is flat?
It has all kinds of indirect implications that it's flat.
Where?
I cited Matthew 4:8, where Jesus is taken up to a tall mountain to see all the kingdoms of the world. To see all the kingdoms of the world from a high mountain, the earth has to be flat and not a globe. Matt dismissed that as just figurative language which is not aiming to be scientifically correct. This, despite earlier saying,
My point about the Bible, it's not a science book and it's not a history book. But where it touches on science, it will be accurate.
he cited Isaiah 40:22, where it refers to God sitting above the circle of the earth.
Well, in that passage, you have to admit, it doesn't say globe. It says circle.
Yeah, right.
And a circle can well mean, and most likely does mean, compass. Like a flat disc, which is the way they looked at the world. A flat disc, not a globe.
Wow.
They should have used globe or blah, but they didn't. How about when it refers to the ends of the earth? Scatter you among all the peoples from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth.
Right.
A globe has no ends.
Wow. Again. See,
That's just an expression, but it's an expression based on this erroneous assumption from years ago that the earth is flat. You're saying it's at the ends of the earth as far as you know. That's my point. It's always phenomenological language. It's never scientific foreknowledge. The earth's foundations. Does the earth have pillars? Pillars of the earth are the Lord's. He set the world on them. The earth isn't set on pillars.
How do you know?
No, because spacecraft have taken pictures, and it shows the earth doesn't have pillars.
Yeah,
It's one big globe.
Right. But to talk about pillars and foundations.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go back to the east and west thing.
Yeah.
What's the problem with that?
The problem with that is Isaiah 42:5. God lays out the earth, or stretches out the earth, spreads out the earth. You spread out something flat. You don't spread out a globe.
Well, yeah, go ahead. That's the big
Another good point, eh?
No, not really.
Oh? And here's one I don't think you can answer. And the stars fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken by a mighty wind. The stars can't fall to the earth. They're too big. It's like 100 or 1,000 basketballs falling onto a dime. There's another one with Jesus saying something about the stars falling to the earth also. The only way the stars can fall to the earth is if they are tiny objects, like the people who wrote this book think. In fact, they can't, because they're too big. They won't fit on the earth.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that one.
You don't.
How far is the star?
I don't know. Maybe
How big
not.
would it be if they even get this far?
How big would it be?
Yeah.
Same size as it is.
Of course not.
Bigger than. It's going to shrink as it gets here?
Sure will when it comes through the atmosphere and all that.
I don't think so. Where do you get that information? I mean, if stars are flying through the air, they're going to shrink?
Sure will. Who knows what's going to happen to them?
But that's not evidence to you that these people didn't know that those little things up there are not really so little.
No.
Otherwise, they never would have said they would fall to the earth.
Why not?
Because they would have known they're much too big and much too far away.
I think Matt is confusing stars with meteorites. When the Bible refers to stars, it is not referring to meteorites, but to the large number of twinkling bodies in the sky, which are far too big to be reduced in size by the Earth's atmosphere. I remind viewers that we are dealing here with conservative Christianity. By contrast, liberal Christians readily admit that there are contradictions in the Bible. Slavery. Matt argued that Paul's advice for slaves to obey masters was simply practical advice. I argue that it was much more than that. It was supporting the status quo, supporting the institution of slavery. Matt had no real answer to a couple of damning passages. Leviticus 25:44-46, where God refers to human beings as property of other human beings. And Exodus 21:29-32, where the life of a slave is valued less than the life of a free man. Matt pondered silently for a while and finished by saying,
I want to do a little more study on the slavery issue in the Bible.
but he never really came back with an answer. Give me a real contradiction.
And I'll tell you this, that this book here has been so well preserved, and any scholar will tell you that this is the most reliable text in ancient literature, the Bible.
Yeah, but that's not critical. You know
Why isn't it critical?
Because, say you're talking about Plato, let's talk about Homer. We don't know for sure how reliable that is, and if absolute proof comes forth that this was written by a blind poet in Greece at a certain time, and it is his works, does that mean that Cyclops exists? One-eyed giants? I don't think so.
No, but wait.
So the fact that this is reliable in terms of literature doesn't mean what it says is reliable. But what about people who are brought up in a different country, an Islamic country, and they put their faith in Allah and the Quran? They also go in hell?
Christ is the exclusive way. That's it.
Huh? I guess we're never going to agree.
See, a rationalist looks at things logically and rationally.
You don't think I'm rational, huh?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you realize I don't think you're rational at all either.
No, but all I'm saying, again, if you're going to follow the rules of logic and the law of non-contradiction, you haven't showed one contradiction tonight. Even the slavery laws are not a contradiction.
What would I have to show you? Give me an example of what would be a contradiction. It's just...
A contradiction, again, it's saying 1 + 1 = 2.
Okay, all right, I'll give you one of those.
Then saying 1 + 1 = 3. That's a contradiction.
All right, I'll give you that one. 1 Chronicles 3:19-20. The sons of Zerubbabel were, and they give us one name, 2, 3 is a sister, so I skip that one. Third one, Hashubah, Ohel. Fourth one, Berchiah. The fifth one, Hazadiah. The sixth one, and Joshua, Heza whatever, I forget the pronunciations. That's 7 people, and then it says 5 in all. So there's a contradiction. It's saying 7 is equal to 5.
Okay, wait a minute, let's see. 1, 2.
Skip the sister.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's a contradiction.
Wait a minute. That's interesting. I'm going to look this one up.
In subsequent meetings, Matt never did come back with an explanation. Some would say I should have pressed him and made him say uncle on this issue. But I like to think listeners, at least those who care about the truth, will know I won that point. The Cud-Chewing Rabbit, Part B.
The rabbit chewing the cud. Why is that not a scientific error to you? And you know what the rabbit does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Re-eats its pellets.
Even though it appears to chew its cud.
Because it doesn't say the hare because it appears to chew the cud. It says the hare because it chews the cud.
Right.
But it doesn't. Scientific error.
Sure.
It's not a scientific error to you?
I'm not going to admit to it right now. No, I'm going to have to look it up.
You did say that there's no Hebrew word for cud.
Well, I'm going to have to look it up. Because I don't think there is a Hebrew word for cud.
You're saying you don't think there is?
No.
Last time you said it emphatically, that there is none.
But you can look up all the Hebrew words, and there is no Hebrew word for cud. There is no Hebrew word for cud. Well, that last time was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but you said there is no Hebrew word for cud. You repeated it 2 or 3 times.
Right.
And you're wrong. There is.
There is.
There is. Garah. And obviously there is because they had plenty of animals. They had cattle, so there must have been some word for it, and garah is the word.
And what does garah mean?
It means cud.
It means cud. Okay. Yeah, I could be mistaken too, you know.
No, but you can't be mistaken and say it so emphatically at the same time.
Oh, yeah, you can just be emphatically wrong.
Oh, well, that's not a good sign.
Do you know how many times you've been emphatically wrong here?
None. I don't think I've been emphatically wrong at all.
Oh. Jeez.
Actually, on Mark's behalf, I think he actually intended to make the point that there is no Hebrew word for refection, the rabbit's behavior of re-eating some of its stool pellets, so that the Hebrews use the phrase for chewing the cud for refection also, since it is a similar action of re-chewing partially digested food. Now, that's an argument that at least has some merit, but the revealing thing to me is that Mark was so intent on winning the argument that he tried to bluff me about the word cud and ended up emphatically asserting a blatant falsehood. Atheists.
They think that nothing produced something, and that is impossible.
I tend to agree, yeah.
Okay, so all I'm saying is that atheism fails at the very formal point of logic and philosophy. They don't want to deal with this subject. They don't want to deal with philosophy. They don't want to deal with logic. And I always talk to whenever I talk to an atheist, I said I don't want to talk about any science, the fossil record, and nothing like that, until you can answer this question. I'm not going any further with you. And they can't get past this. If something exists now, then something had to exist for all eternity. It's impossible to have an infinite amount of causes and effects. What is the ultimate cause that caused this? In the atheistic scheme, there is no ultimate cause.
So here was an important point where I agreed with Matt. The implausibility of an infinite regress of purely physical causes and the plausibility of a non-physical ultimate cause, God. But of course, where we strongly disagreed was on whose concept of God makes more sense. My God versus the Christian God.
Okay, define this creator now.
Okay, I'll give you that list. I had my God.
I read that list, and I'm wondering, I mean, that's a God made in your own imagination.
My own judgment.
Right.
I wouldn't say imagination, but judgment, yeah.
Okay, your own judgment. But
right. So what's the other? It's the imagination of, forgive me for saying this, but loony tribesmen running around the desert carrying a God in a box. I'm not going to trust them.
Prayer.
So your God doesn't answer prayers?
Not in that way, no. No, I can pray all I want for my mother to get better. She's not going to get better. She's got Parkinson's. I've been to a couple of healing conferences where you get 12 people in wheelchairs at the front. When it's over, there's still 12 people in wheelchairs.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but so why do you throw out the biblical concept of prayer by giving some illustration of people sitting in wheelchairs?
Because, well, this is what Jesus claims. He claims whatever you pray for, you can get.
Where does he ever make that statement?
Let's see. Mark 11:20-24. 24 says, "Therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them and you will have them." Absolutely false.
Why is that false?
Well, can you cure my mother by praying to God? If my mother is suddenly better next week, I'll become a Christian.
No, you won't.
I think I would.
No.
If you specifically said to me that I'll pray for your mother to be better and she'll be better next week.
That's not the case. You wouldn't become a Christian because of that.
I'm looking for evidence. This would be confirmation for what he claims. I disbelieve him because I think his claim is false. You believe that's a true statement?
Mm-hmm.
So if I were a Christian and I wanted my mother to get better, I would pray and believe, and then it would happen?
It's not what it's saying.
No. It says, whatever you ask for when you pray, you will have them.
I mean, the context is...
But when it says the word whatever, then what difference does the context make? Whatever is an all-inclusive word. And a lot of Christians say this, that you have to pray with the right attitude, or you have to pray with the great, your faith wasn't great enough. But that's not, he doesn't say with a lot of faith. He says all you need is a mustard seed's worth. And he doesn't say according to this and with these conditions and those conditions. He makes a flat, all-out statement like that, which is people love to hear that. Oh, I mean, it's like all the New Age people that think anything, they can mind over matter. Well, it doesn't work that way.
That is.
But then this statement becomes quite meaningless.
No, it doesn't.
Because there's always some reason why that didn't happen.
Well, obviously.
Well, then it makes it... then why would Jesus say it? I mean, he's just leading people on.
I don't think he's leading people on at all.
If I pray for my mother to get better, I know she's not going to get better, because I don't think the real God works that way. Your God apparently is claimed to work that way, though.
Okay, wait. Here's the problem, all right? It says here, "For surely I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that those things he says will come to pass, he will have whatever he says." Now, let me just ask this question here. If you are under the assumption that God is the creator of the world, all right, does any Christian doubt, or does anyone doubt, if you're assuming that now, that God does not have the ability to curse a fig tree and it withers and dies, or he can say to a mountain, you know, be thou removed and be cast into the sea?
God can do that?
God can do that.
I have no doubt he can do that.
Okay.
I doubt that he does it, though. He doesn't spend his time doing that. But, okay, he can do that, yeah.
He can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Who doubts that God can do anything? I'm talking about from a Christian perspective now, in this worldview. See, if you live that way and believe without doubting everything Jesus says, then whatever you ask, he will do it.
No, he won't.
Yes, he will.
No, he won't.
Yes, he says he will.
No, he won't.
He says he will.
He's lying.
No, he's not
He's
lying.
just selling dreams.
No, he's not selling
God
dreams.
doesn't work that way.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No matter how much you believe and you think you're
No, wait.
absolutely sure, you pray for my mother. Why don't you prove it to me?
No, wait.
I told you this before.
No, wait.
You cure my mother, I'll become a Christian.
No,
you
you
can't
won't.
do that.
No, you won't.
Why? Why won't I?
No, you won't.
Why wouldn't I?
Because...
You would have shown me a miracle. You would have shown me the power of prayer.
No, wait a minute. Listen, Jesus did all kinds of miracles, raised the dead and everything,
No, he didn't.
and he was crucified.
Well, the obvious answer is he didn't. He didn't do these things. This is what
Listen.
people said. People said.
And
who was going to crucify somebody who does miracles? Nobody. It destroys the entire credibility of the
doesn't.
Bible right there.
No, it
People
doesn't.
claiming miracles, then they crucify him.
No, wait.
How can Peter lose faith in Jesus when he walked on water himself?
Because, listen to me for a minute.
I'm listening.
The guy in Luke chapter 16, right, says to Abraham, he says, you know, now I'm in torment here. He says, send someone from the dead and go talk to my brothers so that they don't end up in the same place. You know what Abraham said? He says, if they don't believe Moses and the prophet, they're surely not going to believe me, the one raised from the dead. Because you would rationalize it somehow, some way. It goes on all the time.
So if my mother was cured suddenly,
Yep, you would
I would say it's
some coincidence.
an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
So
You know how many people
they
are
just came up with a cure. Just
You know how many people sit in foxholes in the war, and they make all these promises to God. God, if you save my life or save my friend, when I get out, I'll believe and I'll live for you. And then 3 months later,
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
those foxhole confessions are gone.
Yeah, but those aren't miracles. Those are part of the chances of war there. I'm talking about a bona fide miracle. If my mother suddenly got better,
Yeah,
that I would say that's a miracle, because
it wouldn't be a miracle. That's the
I
problem.
think it would be. My mother can't put together a sentence anymore. She can't walk. To have that whole process to be reversed would have to be a miracle. Either that or some major scientific discovery. And you're saying prayer and faith can heal her. I'm saying that no, it can't. Because that's not the way God works. Not the real God. Your God works that way. Just because God can do anything, it doesn't mean He's going to.
Oh, that's true.
He set the rules for this world. He lets the laws of nature rule.
Yeah, but God governs and sustains the laws of nature.
Yes, He does. I agree. But yeah, see, my God governs and sustains the laws of nature. Your God intervenes in the laws of nature.
That's right.
Dramatically and
That's
frequently.
Not
Mine might, but I never know. You never know. Yeah, I appreciate you coming over.
Yeah.
And your willingness to talk about these things.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with you.
Conclusion. Do you think Matt is looking at issues objectively and cares about the truth? I don't think so.